Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Grimaldo Group. Today, I'm here with an amazing, amazing person. Her name is Wendy Patton, right?
Yes. Hi, Juan.
Hi.
So glad to be here finally. This is cool.
I know, right?
Okay.
It's been a while. So, Wendy, I'm a real estate agent, as you guys know, and she used to own her office, and it's been a little bit since she sold it, and she's actually kind of my neighbor behind the street.
Yes.
right?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are.
So
Neighbors.
we're neighbors, and I'm a fan of her. A book, The Millionaire Real Estate Investor, where I learned a lot of tricks not tricks, but a lot of strategies to purchase property. And it inspired me to continue investing. I started with very little, and we have a few properties now. And we're
I'm
up
so
to
excited
17.
for you.
Yes. So you're an inspiration. And tell us a little bit about you and where you're from. Who is Wendy?
Okay. Well, I started in '85.
Okay.
I graduated from the University of Colorado, and right when I graduated, my mother had gone to a real estate investing seminar.
Okay.
And so she bought someone's real estate course, and she came home, and my dad said, "No,
No way.
we're not doing that." So she gave me the course. She goes, "Wendy, why don't you take this course with you to Michigan?" I got a job in Michigan, by the way. So I was heading to Michigan, and she said, "Take this with you and learn about investing. I think you'd be great at it, and it's something that I know is the way to future financial freedom." So I took the course with me and listened to it all the way to Michigan and thought, "Oh, I don't want my job. I want to be an investor." But I did take my job and started investing slowly. I didn't have any money. I had debt. And I didn't make a lot, Juan. So I learned how to do really creative deals from the very beginning. And that's kind of was my story. I started doing that, and then that's how I ended up in the Millionaire Real Estate Investor book. Because I learned how to become really, really good at doing creative deals. Lease options, land contracts, we call them in Michigan. They're really deed of trust or a contract for deeds in different states. And subject tos, where you take the deed subject to the underlying mortgage. And I just became really good at that because I had to.
Right. So you became creative by, I guess, by necessity?
Necessity.
Right.
I mean, I didn't know any better. I think it's a really great way to learn, right? When you're broke.
100%.
If you're broke and you got to figure out how do I make this deal work, then when you have money, you can make that deal work plus 500 others,
Definitely.
You can do any deal. Yeah.
100%. And one of the things that I always say is I'm always broke. And I don't mean that in a literal way. It's just that I don't like to have money on me. I like to invest it. So what I do is I push myself. And it's funny because my friends are like, "You haven't put up blinds in your house." I'm like, "No, because I bought another house and I bought another investment. I'll get to it." Right?
Right.
I got to get to it too, by the way, because my wife probably wants that to
Yeah.
happen. But I wanted to go back to you again because I read part of your story on the MREI.
Yeah.
What was your first acquisition and how did you do it?
Well, my first acquisition was my primary residence.
Okay.
So when I moved to Michigan, my company had moved about 15,000 people into Detroit, and there was nowhere for anyone to live. So we were all in hotels, motels for 6 months with a waiting list to get into an apartment. Yeah. So I'm sitting in the motel one day, and I remembered this course my mom gave me, and it said, "Join a local real estate investor group if you're serious about investing." So I decided to go to the local investor group. And we went around the table. Everyone's like, "Where are you from? Where are you from?" And blah, blah. I'm like, "Where do you live? Where do you live?" I'm like, "I live in the Red Roof Inn, room 101. And they're like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I really do." So of course, my friends got the Hilton, and I got the Red Roof Inn.
No way.
Yeah, I got ripped off.
That's not cool.
Anyway, but I got out of there quick. But so someone said, "Well, why don't you just buy a house?" And I said, "Me?
It's a concept.
Me? Like, I can't even get an apartment. How am I going to get a house? I mean, I make $10 an hour." Is basically what I was making 20 grand a year, somewhere in that range, right? With a degree, and it was just not a lot. And interest rates were 10% or 11,
How much are the rates?
10 or 11.
So people think they're high now.
Yeah. Wah, wah, wah. Okay. So anyway, yeah, we just got used to 2 and 3, right? For so
Exactly.
long. But anyway, so I was they said, "Well, why don't you just buy something?" I said, "I don't know how." And they said, "Well, that's okay. We'll teach you, whatever." And my first house I bought was a 3-bedroom home with 1 bath, and it was 40 grand back then.
Wow.
In a suburb of Detroit. It's probably 250 now or something, 200 maybe, I don't know. But it was like 40 grand, and I didn't have the down payment. So I borrowed it on my credit card.
Love it.
Well, that's back
Talk about
when,
being creative.
Well, that's back when you didn't have to season your money. Well, now you do. You can't just borrow from your credit card and go get a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac conventional mortgage, right? They're gonna look at where the money come from, how long have you had it, if it's in there like at least 90 days or whatever, it's got to be in there. But at the time, I just went to the bank and go, I need a cash advance, and they gave me my 4,000 down or whatever 10% down was or whatever, and that's how I got it. And my principal, interest, taxes, and insurance was $438 a month.
Wow. How much was the payment for the fee for the hotel? Was the company paying for it, or?
Oh, yeah, but they once I moved, I was done. I mean, I was pretty much at the end of that time, because by the time I learned about investing and I found a deal and then I closed on the deal, I was pretty much.
No way.
Could have had an apartment, yeah. So the cool thing is, so my payment was $438.
Wow.
I rented 2 bedrooms to 2 ladies in the hotel at $250 a month each. So we call that house. We call that house of hacking now. No, we didn't call it that then. We just called it renting rooms, but they call it that then. And my payment on my credit card was like $60 or something.
No way.
So I lived free, and that was my first house. Yeah, my second house, I was like, oh, this is easy. Let me go get another mortgage with a credit card. And so if you had seen me speak,
you did it again?
Oh, okay, Juan, you never saw this, but when I used to teach people how to do lease options, I had saved all my credit cards. That's how I got started, because I didn't know any better. I had credit cards I put them in those little plastic photo things that we used to have in our wallets. And I just taped them all together, and it would go from here to like 50 feet out, literally, all my credit cards. And people were like,
wow.
No way. I go, look at the name on those cards. They're mine, But that's how I got started. Now, I never missed a payment. I never was late on a payment, but those interest rates are about 20%, 25% on those.
But it made sense.
But I got in for no money, no credit. I didn't.
Wow.
I mean, I started doing seller financing on those. So I would take the credit card and make my down payment for my seller finance deal.
And you know what? A lot of people get hung up on the details, right? And how do I do it?
Yeah.
But if you have enough, a big enough why,
Yeah.
the house shows up, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of us are afraid of borrowing money. I got comfortable with it.
Yes.
We're up to our 17th property, and when I first started investing, I wanted to have 5.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to have 10.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what would it feel like to have 20?
Yeah.
And we're almost there. And I'm like, what would it feel like to have 100? One of my buddies owns 300 homes.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating because the more you have, the more leverage you have, the more the
Right.
bank is willing to lend you. If obviously you want to do it right.
Right.
Right. And be careful
Right.
with every move that you make.
Yep.
And what Gary Keller says, buy it right.
Yeah.
Buy with equity. Will it always happen like that?
You always have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
You make your money on the buy, right?
100%.
And if you're not finding good deals, then you're going to be in trouble anyway. You're right. Yeah.
So you started buying with credit cards.
So
So
I
you
did
said you
that
had
all the
like
way.
50 feet worth of.
I had 50 feet of credit cards.
Credit cards.
Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt when I was 22, 23, 24 years old, Well, anyways, so my story was I ended up being this total debt person, meaning like leverage. And, I remember, first of all, I got married then. I had twins. I got divorced. So I was a single mom. So it kind of slowed me, half gone, and started over with my kids. And they would go with me everywhere I went. I have a boy-girl twins that, by the way, live in live in Arizona now.
Love it.
Which is so cool,
They're your
but anyway,
neighbors too, no?
They're my neighbors.
Yep.
Yep. They live real close.
They live in
So-
this beautiful community called Verado.
Yeah,
And you
well,
live
one does, and one lives in Goodyear, which is where we
down
are
the
right
street.
now.
Yep.
Right here.
Right here.
So, it was really, really cool. But that was totally never would have thought that. So because they grew up in Michigan. Well, I got remarried, and when I got remarried, my husband Michael said to me, he has 3 kids, and he said, why do you have so many homes? I had 175.
No way.
And I go, because
175 homes?
I collect them. And he's like, why? And I go, they're fun, And he's like, but you owe money on all of them. And I said, yeah, but it's called leverage. And he said, well, why don't have you ever considered selling some of them and having them all free and clear? And I did.
You did.
Yeah. It was the best move I ever made in my life. It was very smart for him to say that, because that's one thing in that book they talk about. And this depends on your age, right?
Exactly. When was this? When was this? Was it recently or?
No, that was 20 years ago.
Okay.
Over 20 years ago when I met him. And at that time, almost everything was fairly leveraged. Well, he said, wouldn't you rather own 30 or 40 free and clear than 200 or 175, 200 with debt? And because it's so much easier to manage. And we did the math, and it really worked out to be almost exactly the same income, but so much less work.
Right.
So, and so much less stress, guys, right? So that was the big thing for me was at that point, I was like, okay, I've already been divorced. I lost half of everything. Now I'm rebuilding this thing. And then, the market tanked right then about that time as well. And being free and clear really
Gave you peace of mind.
Yeah.
And not only that, it probably saved you. So let's
Everything
go
else
back.
everything else I lost money on though. Like if I still had a loan on something, I was like, oh my gosh, I paid to get rid of some of them, at that time. Yeah.
When was this though? When you
2007 and 8.
So
Some of them
right
hadn't been
before,
sold yet. Yeah.
right before the market crash. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So I'd like to say I'm brilliant, but I'm not. I wasn't brilliant at that, and because I didn't get rid of everything quick enough from his recommendation, and my husband was more brilliant than I was on that. But then after the market tanked, really you lose a lot when the market tanks. Now everyone doesn't know this, but in Michigan, Arizona too, you got creamed with the value depreciation. How much it went down, but Michigan by far the worst in the country.
Yeah.
By far.
It's still struggling, right?
It's coming back. I mean, it's really come back a lot, but it's still, there's some rough area, still some cheaper homes there. But I was buying homes in 2007 and 8 for $3,000.
No way.
I mean, nice homes in like decent areas, like rental properties.
$3,000?
5,000, 10,000, 13. Oh yeah. So we bought hundreds and then. So when the market tanked, it was like a really good thing for us because then we started going crazy and we did they now call it turnkey. But back then, we would buy a house, we'd put it in its own LLC, we would register it with the state, we'd register it with the city, we'd get a tenant in there, we'd have it all rehabbed, and then we'd sell it to out-of-state investors for a good profit. And I did that hundreds of times, and it was really good. And all my investors made tons of money too, because they were, at the time, I was selling them for like, if it was 50,000, if I could sell it for 50, if the rent was 1,000, I'd sell it for 50. So that would mean 2%. Well, you can't find that today. I can't find that in Michigan even today.
Right.
But I was buying them for like all in 25.
No way.
And renting for 1,000, 4 times. So it was kind of crazy. But that's a little bit about my story. And then now I'm more into the I don't like the weight on my shoulders, so I'm kind of a debt-free person. Not really Dave Ramsey extreme, although we are there because it's just coincidental.
No, it's not coincidental. I think you designed it a little, but you didn't know you were designing it, but you were working on it.
I was working on it.
And you had enough, and this is the beauty of volume, right? One of my first coaches I started doing loans back in 2007, and actually in 2006. And the first thing he said, Juan, volume cures it all. So you have to have enough volume.
Yeah.
So if you had 170 properties, I'm sure you could have paid off, I don't know how many, right?
Well, down to 30. We had free and clear after. Yeah.
30 free and clear, which it's a pretty good income, and you don't have any debt.
No debt.
Like you said, no, you don't have to worry about all these banks, sending him the payments and all that.
And there's no
it's
stress
amazing.
when there's no debt,
Of course.
Oh, okay, it's vacant. Oh, well. So I have taxes and insurance,
True.
and utilities maybe. But, you got all the other ones covered. I mean, it just made it easier for me. So that's kind of the direction I went in. But again, as I got older, right? So I just turned 60. So just like 20 years ago, I was in my 40s, my low 40s. And I had lost most of my assets when the market tanked, meaning value, because our properties went from, worth 150,000. This is the crazy part. People don't really, people go, oh, we lost 50% of value. I go, really? Where? We lost like
80,
90%,
90.
80.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I could buy those for $10,000, $15,000.
Right. But I think, and you talked about it earlier, thinking in different, how can I say this or put it in a better way? When you're in different stages in life, your strategy has to change, right? If the 20-year-old, 40-year-old, 60-year-old.
When I was 20, I had nothing to lose.
Exactly.
I was in debt already. What did I have to lose? Borrow more, baby.
Exactly. So for those people that are kind of on the fence, and I talked to a lot of young individuals. Andres, he's one of our agents. He already owns a home. He's 21 years old, and he bought it on his own, and he's buying the second one right now.
Love it.
So it's so cool to be able to go all in when you're young, because you have all the upside, right? And what if? You know what? You learn every single thing that you do. If you don't make any mistakes, you don't learn, right? And you don't do anything. You don't grow.
Right.
So
That's true.
I admire that from you, that you took a chance, you saw the opportunity, and then you went all in. And it was a very wise move to move. And again, did you know that this was going to happen, the market crash?
No, I did not see the signs coming because I ignored them. I had people telling me, Wendy, watch out, real estate goes in cycles. Well, it hadn't for 20 years since I was investing, so I thought they were full of crap, actually. I was like, it's not gonna go down. No, I mean, look, it just keeps going up. Well,
And I
I
think-
ignored it because I
Exactly.
was so busy, Juan, in my world. Now I watch it. I really watch it. I mean, if I even see, like right now, we know days on market are increasing, right? And things like that, more inventory, days on market's increasing. I watch those things really closely now. Even now, we talked before this, that I do a lot of hard money lending. Well, I watch it for that too, because I'm like, let's say I would lend to you, and I know you're taking a little long. I'm like, Juan, chop, man. The market's changing. Get going.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you too, because I care about your investment, which is my investment too.
Protecting your investment.
Yeah, both of us. Yeah.
Of course. And I think that's another great thing to be aware of what's going on in your world, especially us as agents. We're constantly looking at the market. We're seeing the inventory increase. We're seeing that the rates aren't going anywhere.
Right.
And we watch. I mean, even though most people don't want to be political, you don't have to, but just watch everything that's going on in your
Right.
world, because everything affects everything.
Yes, it
right?
does.
So going back to when you started investing, and where you're at now, if there was something you could have done differently, what would it be?
Well, I would probably have done a few things differently. I think I would have bought more sooner, right? I would have tried to really go all in sooner than when I did go all in.
What stopped you?
I had a real full-time job, and then I had twins. I mean, that, probably.
Was it more the lack of time, or was it more the
Time.
Time?
I
Okay.
was never afraid. That's one thing.
I
A
can
lot of
see that.
investors are like fearful,
Yeah.
I wasn't fearful probably because I had nothing to lose. I had nothing to lose. I was like, hey, I'm in debt. Okay, let's see. I could be in more debt, or I could make money. I'm already in debt, so I had nothing to lose.
Right.
Now, see, as you grow your
Things
financial
change.
wealth, right, over time, now I have something to lose. So I don't take risk like I used to.
Right.
I'm more cautious. I say no to more things than I say yes to, a lot more. Because I'm like, why would I have worked for 40 years? It's been almost 40 years now, right?
Now you have a lot invested.
Next year, it's going to be 40 years since I bought my first property. And, I don't want to lose all this stuff I made, you
Love
know?
it.
Yeah.
For sure. If you were to give advice to someone young, or even someone that is in their mid-20s, 30s, because they think they're still young, and I think that they got to get their act together at that point.
Yeah. Chop.
What would you tell your younger self in that age? I know you started earlier, like most
I did
people
start.
don't.
My first house I bought at 21, that I house hacked. I was 21 years old. And I think I've always pushed even my kids. They both are homeowners, here in Arizona. And I pushed them pretty early, and they bought theirs in their 20s as well, but not 21. But they really got in early too. I would say to get involved, read, learn.
Can you repeat that again?
Read,
and
get
learn.
your audibles. Like, change your mindset. Like, if you have negative thinking, then that has to be changed. You have to be thinking positively, but not stupid either.
Exactly.
You have to educate yourself. I would say I run the Michigan Real Estate Investors Group, so I always years later here that's how I learned. So I ended up starting one and buying it and doing all that, but I still run that because I feel like that's where people start. You go to an investor group where you can learn different things. Like maybe one month I might have something on rehabbing, the next month might be multifamily, then it might be commercial, then it might be adult assisted living facilities. It could be the Burr. It could be whatever. Everything.
There's so many.
You got to rotate these things, and you got to learn. But instead of watching TV, I'd never watched TV. That was the best thing my parents ever did. They didn't let us watch a lot of TV when we were kids, so I never got in the pattern of coming home to watch TV. And a lot of my friends, they would spend their week, they would either go to the bar on Saturday night, and I'm painting my house, my rentals, or they would be watching TV and watching movies every night and plop down on the TV. And I would be reading a book or watching a webinar, learning a strategy, out looking at properties, driving neighborhoods. I mean, I was obsessed with being good at it. And I think that's the key, is just, it doesn't have to be this is the other thing. Like, it doesn't have to be your passion. Now, real estate is my passion.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. I love every aspect of it, okay? From the brokerage to the title to mostly the investing world. But for some people, they're just really good at it, and they have a passion for something else. Like maybe you're a teacher, and you're just not making enough to really build the wealth that you want before you retire. Well, that's what real estate can do for you, right? That's what it can do for you. It doesn't have to be your passion. It could be a supplemental income,
like your side gig.
Income.
And one of the things that most people get lost in the translation is like, I don't have the means. Do you think you think the game is rigged?
You mean for wealthy versus unwealthy?
Exactly.
No.
Can you repeat that again?
No, I was like a broke kid, no, it's not. I think the only thing that's rigged is what's in your head.
Your brain is rigged.
Yep.
And one of the things, I'm a high school dropout. I mean, I always say this, but I learn on my own. I read a lot.
Yeah.
And to me, that changed my life. I mean, like you were saying earlier, that's why I'm huge on books. I get books all the time. I have a stack of books in my office.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a little story just to give you guys context. I'm a huge Trump supporter, and this might be a little controversial, but I don't really care because I met the guy through a book, 2009.
Wow.
I was out in California, and I was driving, I was hauling crude oil for this company. The market was bad. I went over there to
That was a dark time. Okay.
Yes, to train for driving. My brother owned the truck, or my niece's husband, and he allowed me to drive his truck to practice.
Yeah.
And as I was there, my brother's like, hey, they're hiring. So I took a job there, and as I took the job, my family was still here. And to make the long story short, I got this book, so when I would stop to load up, I start reading. This book is called Why We Want You to Be Rich. I don't know if you read it.
No.
Robert Kiyosaki and Donald Trump.
Oh, they wrote it together?
They wrote it together in 2006.
That's not a very known book. Okay.
No, it's huge. So it changed my life. So I became a fan of Trump back then.
Yeah, before he was ever even political.
Before he was even in politics and all that. And that's where people don't have the context of, well, you're racist, you're this. No. He changed my life. I'm here because of that man and the inspiration I got from both of them.
Yeah, they're amazing, and they do what they teach, and they know how to do that.
And they teach a lot. They learn a lot. They read a lot.
They do. And both. And I don't know how Trump does it, where he doesn't even sleep. I got to sleep.
4 hours,
I got to sleep 8 or 9 hours every night. Yeah. I'm like, do you know how successful I could be if I only had to sleep 4? Wow. But that's amazing. He's definitely an inspiration in that stuff.
Definitely. So that's to give a little context. People say, why do you like his? I'm Mexican, right? I was born here. I grew up in Mexico, and I'm a Mexican descent, and I'm proud of who I am. But the thing is, like, you got to have context. And if you don't understand. But that's, to me, that guy changed my life. And I've been following him, and I know his story, right?
Yeah.
You know his story?
Awesome. Not all of it, no.
His dad, when he was 11 years old, his Donald Trump's grandfather passed away. So Fred Trump, his dad, when he was 12, he started working to provide for the family because he was the oldest. And as he provided for the family working in construction, by 14, he became a contractor. But he was so young that the company had to be under his mom's name. Long story short, grows, gets to become wealthy.
Yeah.
Trump was born into a wealthy family. He didn't come from wealth. His father didn't come from wealth, but then he did.
Yeah.
And he had a different vision to go to the luxury side and do crazy things, which he transformed New York. And all that, it's in the book. And it's really cool to hear how he changed the bureaucracy so that he was able to build these amazing buildings and make New York what it is and it's been. Right?
Yes,
it's beautiful. Manhattan is amazing, and his buildings are awesome. And he's got buildings all over the world. So it's inspiring and fascinating to see what the possibilities are. Yes. And I think we're in a beautiful, fertile ground in the U.S. I come from Mexico, and why am I here? Well, the opportunities aren't what they are here.
Right.
And we're able, no matter who you are, where you're from, what kind of background you have, with the credit card, you can start with a credit card, you can start with the book. And become whatever you want to become, right? Mm-hmm. So the resources are out there. But people talk about there's no money. You lend money, right?
Yeah.
I borrow money.
Yeah.
And there's money everywhere. Like I just put a deal together where I borrowed from one of my clients who became my investor, and then I borrowed from the private lender, and I didn't come in with any money for a deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got to get creative and figure out ways to do it.
There's always ways to do it. If the deal is good, That's the thing that people think. It's about finding the deal, right? It's all about the deal. Because if you've got the deal, you will find the money.
If you build
have
it, they'll
to lock
come.
up the deal, huh?
If you build it, they'll come.
Same thing, right? Yeah, and there's always a way. There's even ways to. Now you're going to pay through the nose if you're going to borrow 100%.
Yep.
Because there's someone like me. I lend first mortgages only. But I have a friend in Michigan. They loan always the second. That's gap funding, right? Which is the difference between the cost and what I'm willing to lend. And all the rehab, right? So let's say you pay $200,000 for a property, it's going to be worth $350 when it's fixed up, and he's $50,000. You need like $250 really to do that deal, but you might not have anything. Well, I might only lend like $200 or $180 even on it, but my friend might lend $70, right? He takes the second seat, but he makes more money.
This is the credit card.
He gets some big bucks. And by the way, I should have said that earlier. You asked me about the credit card thing or what I would change. That's what I would change. I wouldn't have done it on credit cards. I would have learned these other creative things, but I didn't even know.
But not knowing you got to this place, just imagine.
I know, but that's why I said if I could go back, if I knew what I knew then, oh my gosh, my life would have been so different. Because I would have done it much quicker, much faster. That's why they say if you take money away from someone who's got wealth, it doesn't matter. You could whip it. I already know. Yeah. We do this thing in Michigan Real Estate Investors where every year I pull a panel together of, they have to be at least millionaires. They have to have a net worth of more than $1 million. And I say, okay, if we take away everything from you, and even everything in your phone, you have no contacts. You're in a strange city. You don't know anyone. You don't know any real estate agents. You know no mortgage people. You know no contractors. Nothing. What would you do to start over to build $1 million in net worth again, and how long would it take you to do it? And it's, of course, different because you can do it so much quicker and faster.
Exactly, because you already have the knowledge. This is where we are emphasizing the fact that you have to learn, and the resources are out there. I see people go and pay astronomical amounts of money. Yeah. We do free seminars, Wendy, here for our clients, and we're giving back. I mean, we're blessed by the profession that we have, by the knowledge that we gain.
Yes,
and
that is key.
People do not take the time to learn. They just want to go and, I want to flip. I remember
they make a mistake too. Yeah.
A lot of mistakes. Yeah. So one of my friends, his daughter used to play soccer with my daughter, and I invited him over because he's making really good money, but he's burning it, right? I mean, you make money, and then you pay a lot of taxes. I'm like, well, you can strategize and start investing your money so that you can keep more of your money and have somebody else help you grow your wealth, because you can make money on a flip, but you cannot grow wealth that way. Am I right?
Right. Right. I mean, until you have to take that money, that profit, and pay your taxes, and you got to reinvest it, right? And that, I think you hit something earlier that I want to expand on. You talked about like you don't even have the blinds in your house anymore. Here's the deal, guys. Like, this is such an important part. When you start to make more money, you cannot spend more money, or very little.
Exactly. Like, you start getting all the flashy stuff.
It didn't matter. Like, if I was like right here in my income and I went up to here, I never changed until I'm more now a little. Finally,
you can splurge.
Now I'm splurging more, and it takes practice, and it's hard for me and my husband because we were always so good about being tight, I mean, we did fun things. We did great trips, but not amazing trips.
Yeah.
We did good trips. Now we do amazing trips, It's a big difference. But it takes a while to get, like, we're not going to spend that much on a week, like, what?
But if you're making it, so this is, you get to that point.
But now, like, we're at the home stretch, right? Like, we know if we're not going to use it now, I'm sorry. Right. I didn't work my whole life to, like, give it to my kids. I want them to learn how to make it themselves.
Amen. I
want them to build a legacy for themselves. I don't want them to rely on mine or what we did,
You want to share one of the amazing, crazy trips you've done? Like something that's the wildest
Wildest? Okay. I haven't really done any too wild ones. Let me think. I'm not really. Okay. I mean, so this year I spent 4 weeks in Europe. I thought that was cool.
Love it. Where did you go?
Summer. I spent 2 weeks in Scotland and Ireland, and 2 weeks doing the Rhine River cruise and in Lake Como and Milan.
Love it.
So, and there were 2 separate trips too. So I would say, I spent like $50,000 this summer. I think that's
quite a bit of money.
That's good,
But you've earned it. You deserve it, and it's okay.
I would have never spent that. I would have never thought like, whoa. Now I have it as part of my life that I need to spend at least that much on travel a year because and my kids. So I don't know if I told you, but I think maybe I did. But my mother, who got me in real estate, she gave me that real estate course. She died in October last month. Okay, but I'm gonna inherit some money from her. Okay, And my kids, hopefully they won't see this, but they don't. My mom was a big traveler, and she always wanted us to have that experience. When her parents died, she used her inheritance funds to take us on trips.
Oh,
She wanted us to travel and see the world. And so I took my mom's money, or I don't even have it yet. I shouldn't say that. I don't have it yet. But it's going into I already started
It's
an
part of
LLC
my-
called Moni's. They called her Moni because that was their grandma name. Moni's Travel Fund LLC.
Love it.
And it's all going in there. And I already told them next year you have to each spend 10 grand on a trip. And they said, what? And I said, they go, well, my son was like, I would never spend that much on a trip. I said, well, then don't. If you want to spend 5, you can spend 5.
Right.
Or you could spend 10. Your choice. I go, it came from Moni. But, it's
awesome.
hard to change that mentality. But I want them to start seeing that these are the experiences they can have when you save and do things, right?
And you have the
I didn't do
abundance.
it then. I didn't exactly say that. Talk about
Abundance.
that.
When you have the abundance, because a lot of times we will go and spend money that we don't have, right? And it's, yes,
horrible.
and it's very, very common here in the U.S. I mean,
Very.
we're very materialistic, but I went for a long time without. We used to drive to Mexico because it was the cheapest way to go, and that's what we could
Yeah,
afford.
yeah.
So I used to take my wife and kids in a van, and we drive down to Mexico. This last year we went to Italy for 2 weeks. We had a beautiful time, and it's about what kind of experiences can you have? Because also, I mean, you can have the
Right.
things, right? But did they bring you happiness?
Right.
So at the end of the day, is like the money is it's there as a tool for you to use it however you see fit.
Right.
How do you contribute to your community, to church, right, and all that?
Right.
And those are the things that kind of give you more fulfillment than just having a nice fast car that you're the only one that can enjoy it. Which
Right.
again, there's nothing wrong with that. Trust me, I'm
No,
working
if that's
on
your
that.
thing, right?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
that's your real thing, great, have that,
Yeah.
For me, cars were never that important. So we've never, I shouldn't say never. I think once we might have bought a new car.
What'd you
never.
get?
We always buy a 2-year-old car. No, it was something we needed for the 7 kids. When we got married, we
Okay.
had 7 of us and we had to buy, we didn't have money. So we bought something on credit, 0%, but that was the only new car we ever bought. We always buy 2 or 3 years old. It's just the way we are because I want someone else to take the 30 to 50% hit,
True.
And then, it's just safe to spend. It's just the way we still do it. We have the money. We could buy any car, and it's
a lifestyle.
My husband's like, we're not spending that much on a car, I want that Tesla one, that one that's over 100, the S. I want 125. I just can't do it. I can't do that.
Right.
I can. I won't.
Gotcha.
I don't want a car for 125,000 or whatever it is. Or
I think
140.
about in terms of a home, I can buy another house with that.
I used to think that all the time, especially in Michigan, because I could buy 2 or 3. Everything was related to a house. Everything, especially when the market was so bad. We don't have that here in Arizona, where the average price is like 400 or 500, right?
Right.
But in Michigan, at one point, it was very easy to say, why would I spend 15 on a trip? I could buy a house that makes $1,000 a month.
Right. I always translate it into that. I'm like, dude, I can buy another house with that amount.
I know. But at some point you do have to balance that, right? And that's the really important thing is balancing, okay, I made an extra 100 grand this year that I didn't normally make. Okay, let's spend 20 of it on something fun and let's reinvest 80.
Yep.
I mean, you do have to reward yourself.
Of course, you gotta
give something.
Yeah, because you get
Otherwise-
also burned out, right? If you're
Yes.
just working, what is the purpose? I've
Right.
seen people that work their butts off their whole life.
And they die with all this money.
They die with all the money, and yes, the family will enjoy it, but what was that? I mean,
Right.
you didn't even have experience because you're always working. You're not even there,
Right.
right? So, based on your experience from here in Phoenix, because you go back and forth to Michigan,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What do you think's coming to Phoenix? How do you see Phoenix market?
I think it's going to keep growing. Detroit is doing great as well. The city of Detroit, it's having a real big boom as well. I mean, still people are buying stuff for 30, 40, 50 grand, whatever.
I gotta take a flight with you over there and just see what's out there.
Okay, yeah. If you ever want to come, I actually have I do a lot of lending in Detroit.
I'll go to your mastermind.
Yeah,
And we
yeah,
can
you
go
could. You
drive
could.
around.
And I would hook you up with a couple of my my buddies, my friends who grew up in the city. They know the city.
Know the
They're
good
the ones
place
I
to
rely
invest.
on. They're and I've partnered with some of them. I've lent to some of them, and they are the ones who show me around and say, "Hey, this is a good area. This isn't a good area. Watch out for this, this, this." I mostly lend in Detroit, although I have a deal right now I bought there, and it better sell quickly because I bought my Roth IRA. We should talk about that.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is another key thing, and we could even do almost a whole thing on this thing. But so when I got divorced, everything was split, and part of my split was I gave away my IRA because I got some of the real estate, and all that. So I had to start over again, and I have put about 70. I'm not trying to brag. Let me just say this.
No.
I just want to share with you guys the power of what is available to us in this country if you leverage it properly. So I had to start over, and I probably put 75 grand into my Roth IRA. I only use a Roth, okay? And I only use a Roth because, and you might say, well, you don't qualify if you make too much. Yes, there's a backdoor thing, and everyone, I could put
Get
it
a
in
good
every-
accountant, right? Yeah.
You would just have to know what to do, and you can get money in a Roth. Anyways, so I put about 75,000 into that Roth, and that Roth is over $1 million now.
Congratulations.
Just that Roth. And now I'm over 59 and a half, right? I could take it out tax-free if I wanted. I don't want to. I don't need that money. And why would I want to? That's the money I put in my most aggressive things. Because if I'm going to make a lot of money in a deal, I always run that in my Roth because I don't need the cash, and I want that profit. The bigger profit deals or the higher returns, I want them to be tax-free.
I love that. That's
So you just do
great advice.
you start it little by little by little, and you find your deals like, I started with nothing in there, so I had to put 6,500 in one year, or I don't even think I had 6,500. Truthfully, the first year I started it, maybe two, when I restarted it, and I found a deal that I could flip to someone for like 12 grand without touching it, and I knew that I had to put 100 from I had created this deal. It was literally on a napkin, pretty much, and. I was like, hey, wait, we got to change it to, it's going to go to my IRA now, not this other thing, because I wholesaled it. So then I had 12 grand more plus the two. And then I just started doing a few of those kind of quickie deals till it was big enough to buy a property. And you know what I mean? And then you can leverage stuff in there. There's all kinds of creative things.
With the Roth IRA?
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. We'll talk more about that next time we meet.
We should definitely talk about that.
We'll
That
go
is
deeper.
a huge thing. And even like budgeting, if you want to talk about money and stuff like that, I love that stuff because I think you have the same kind of passion that I do for people about learning how to be financially self-sufficient and
Independent.
solid and it's not about being wealthy and going, I'm rich.
No, not at all.
It's about freedom.
Exactly. Doing whatever you want, whenever you want, with whomever you want.
Right. And then, but like you said, you have to take care of your family first, you and your family first, and your basic needs. And then when you start getting that excess, you've got to reinvest it. You need to get your money working for you if you want to build true wealth.
Yeah, because we were talking about the blinds that I don't have in my house, and I'm doing it little by little because then I'm buying another house. I'm going to buy another one. So
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
exactly, and to me, I'm very okay with. I don't care what people think about me and what
Right,
we have.
right.
If they come to my house and they have fun, I don't care about the blinds.
Right.
So, but because I'm trying to, and I'm working on getting my family to a better position
Yes.
so that my kids learn as well, right?
Absolutely.
This is what we gotta tell them. This is for us, me and mom, or mommy and I, so that we can do and live our latter
Yeah.
years because we don't know what's going to happen, right?
That's right.
And
You
that's,
never
you got to
know.
get prepared. So, yeah, awesome. Great
Yeah.
talk. I'm so
Yeah.
glad that you had the time to come over here.
Absolutely. This is the first time I've been in here in a few years, so that was kind of cool.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity.
And I love your studio and all this is really cool. Group. Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Awesome.
Wendy.
Thank you.
Have a good day, guys. Thanks for watching.